Welcome to the Heartbreak Chronicles, where every story is a raw reflection of life. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned, give us a like to show your support, and share this episode with your friends. Don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you think. Now, let's dive into today's story. My name is Alexander, and I used to be a rising trading star at my family's investment firm. At the time, I was full of enthusiasm, thinking that with my talent and hard work, I could one day become a Wall Street legend. However, I never thought that the people closest to me would become the biggest stumbling block on my career path. My brother Oliver is the CEO of the company. To be honest, his ability was mediocre as hell, and if it weren't for his father's connections, I'm afraid he would have been eliminated from the company a long time ago. But he is also an egotistical person who always thinks that he is the core of the company. Oliver's jealousy of me grew as I rose through the ranks of the company. I arrived at work early that day, as usual, ready to prepare for an important upcoming deal. The hallway was unusually quiet, and I pushed open the door to my office only to find a mess inside. Files were scattered all over the place, and the computer screen was still lit up, displaying some strange transaction records. Just then, Oliver rushes in with a couple of security guards. "Alexander, you disappoint me so much." His voice was filled with false regret. "We discovered that you used insider information to conduct illegal transactions involving millions of dollars. As the CEO of the company, I had to make a difficult decision. I instantly realized it was an elaborate trap." "Oliver, you know that's not true." I tried to argue, but he didn't even give me a chance. What broke my heart even more was that my girlfriend Sophia was also standing by Oliver's side. Sophia is a financial analyst at the firm. We've been in love for 2 years, and I've always thought of her as my closest companion. But at the moment, she looked at me coldly, as if I were a stranger. "I'm sorry, Alexander." Sophia's voice was emotionless. "I had to report your violation. It was for the good of the company." My world fell apart in that moment. The people I trusted the most, the people closest to me, they teamed up to push me into the abyss of doom. I was forced to leave the company, and all my dreams and hard work came to nothing overnight. The day I left the office, it was raining in the fall. I stood in front of the building I once struggled in and watched the crowds come and go with bitterness in my heart. I knew that I could no longer find a place to live in this deceitful financial world. With a lot of anger and disappointment, I decided to leave Wall Street and the place that hurt me. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that I have to start over. The moment the plane took off, I looked out the window at the diminishing New York skyline and swore in my heart, one day, I'll be back. I will prove to those who betrayed me what a mistake they made. This betrayal taught me a hard lesson, but it also taught me one thing. The only person you can trust in this world is yourself. With this realization, I embarked on a journey into the unknown and began my path to rebirth. After leaving New York, I drifted around the country like a homeless beast. Eventually, I found shelter in a small, unassuming city and took a position at a small, unrecognized investment firm. It doesn't have the hustle and bustle of Wall Street, but it gives me a chance to catch my breath. I barricaded myself in a tiny rental house and spent day after day studying the markets, analyzing data, and honing my trading skills. I know that the only way to be invincible in the arena of future vengeance is to make myself stronger. During my time working for this small company, I met two people who changed my destiny. One is Emma, a financial lawyer, and the other is Olivia, a data analyst. Emma is a thunderous woman with an unfathomable legal pedigree and a breathtaking knowledge of the financial markets. We first met at a small financial seminar where her razor-sharp questions left the presenter speechless, while her insights into financial regulations stood out to me. Olivia, on the other hand, is a quiet, introspective talent. She can spot patterns in seemingly disorganized data that others overlook, and she develops predictive models that are incredibly accurate. We met by chance in the company's pantry, and a simple conversation led me to discover her extraordinary talent. Gradually, the three of us became friends who had nothing to say. Over countless nights, we have spent time together discussing financial market trends, analyzing various investment strategies, and thinking about future possibilities. Our ideas have always complemented each other perfectly, with Emma's legal insight Olivia's data analysis skills, and my trading experience making us an impeccable team. One day, during one of our regular seminars, Emma suddenly came up with a bold idea. Why don't we start our own hedge fund? The offer made my heart race. Isn't it my long-held dream to start my own fund? But then I thought of past failures and hesitated. Seeming to see my concerns, Olivia said softly, Alexander, I know you've suffered betrayal in the past. But trust me, Emma and I would never do that to you. Together, the three of us make the strongest team. Emma also nodded firmly. That's right, Alexander. The past experience has made you stronger. The current you, with our support, can definitely make it big in the financial market. Their words lit a flame of hope in my heart. Yeah, I'm not that naive Alexander anymore. Now I have more experience, more strength, and the most reliable partner. Okay, then let's make a miracle together. I clenched my fists and made a decision. With that, the three of us poured everything we had into creating our own hedge fund, Phoenix Fund. The name represents our determination to be like the phoenix, reborn from the ashes and spreading our wings in the financial markets. The road to entrepreneurship is not smooth. We have experienced countless sleepless nights and faced numerous failures and setbacks. But the three of us supported each other, encouraged each other, and kept going. Finally, our efforts are starting to pay off. Phoenix Fund's performance is gradually attracting industry attention as we continue to grow the size of our assets under management. Every successful transaction and every satisfied customer brings us one step closer to our dream. Looking at the growing numbers, I knew that I was getting closer to my goal. One day, I will return to Wall Street with this strength and seek justice from those who have hurt me. But at the same time, I realize that Emma and Olivia have given me a new life. Their trust and support gave me back my faith in the world. No matter what the future holds, I will cherish this hard-earned friendship. As night fell, I stood at my office window and looked out at the lights in the distance. I know that my road to rebirth has only just begun, and an even better story awaits me ahead. Time flies, and Phoenix Fund has been in existence for 5 years. During these 5 years, our funds have created one miracle after another in the financial market by virtue of precise investment strategies and a strong team. We've surpassed tens of billions of dollars in assets under management and have become an emerging star fund on Wall Street. Every time I see Phoenix Fund's name in the headlines of financial news, I feel a surge of heartfelt pride. It's not just a recognition of our strengths, it's the best response to my past experiences. However, with the success of my career, the flame of vengeance in my heart burned hotter and hotter. I knew it was time to return to Wall Street and seek justice from those who had betrayed me. Alexander, have you really decided to do this? Emma frowns as she learns of my plan. I nodded firmly. Yes, Emma. It's not just for myself. It's to prove that in this world, good will eventually triumph over evil. Olivia gently held my hand. We understand how you feel, Alexander. We will support you in whatever decision you make. But remember, don't let hate blind you. Their concern warmed my heart. I know that with their support, I have the courage to face everything. The day I returned to Wall Street, I wore my most expensive custom-made suit and the lucky cufflinks my father once gave me. All eyes were on me as I stepped into the building where I used to work. I knew that they all recognized me. The Alexander who had been banished from Wall Street and was now coming back strong with a top hedge fund. I walked straight to Oliver's office. The moment I pushed the door open, I saw him sitting in a wide leather chair, making a phone call with a smug look on his face. The moment he saw me, his expression froze instantly. It's been a long time, Oliver. I gave an icy smile. I'm sure you remember me? Oliver forced himself to be calm, but I could see the panic in his eyes. Alexander, what are you doing here? I slowly walked over to his desk and looked down at him. I've come to tell you that your good times are over. Starting today, I'm going to let you know firsthand what it's like to be betrayed by those closest to you. Just then, Sophia pushed her way in. The moment she saw me, her face instantly turned pale. Alexander. She opened her mouth shakily, but I raised my hand to interrupt her. Save it, Sophia. You two teamed up to push me off a cliff, and now, it's time to pay the price. Over the next few days, I began my plan for revenge. Phoenix Fund began to buy large quantities of Oliver's stock while spreading news in the market about the company's mismanagement. Emma, for her part, used her legal expertise to dig up some of the company's past irregularities and threatened to report them to regulators. Oliver's company quickly fell on hard times. The stock price plummeted, investors withdrew their money, and creditors began to call in their debts. Oliver looks like he's aged 10 years every day, fretting in his office. Sophia wasn't much better. I had someone dig up evidence of her helping Oliver manipulate the market in the past and threatened to make it public. She lives in great fear every day, not knowing when she will end up in jail. A wave of pleasure surged through me as I watched them in disarray. This is the price of betrayal, I murmured in my mind. However, just as I was about to deliver the final blow, destroying Oliver's company once and for all, an unexpected person showed up. "Alexander," came a familiar voice from behind. I turned to see that it was my sister Lily. Lily is 2 years younger than me, and we lost touch after I left Wall Street. Seeing her at the moment, I have mixed feelings. "Please stop," Lily cried. "I know Oliver and Sophia have done terrible things to you. But at this rate, our family business is going down the drain. Dad is already heartbroken and Mom is in tears all day. Alexander, for the sake of us still being family, please forgive them." I looked at Lily coldly. Family? When they kicked me out of the company, why didn't it occur to them that we were family? Lily lowered her head. "I know we were both at fault. We were blinded by Oliver at the time and didn't stand by you, and that's the thing I regret most in my life. But Alexander, do you remember Dad's teachings? He always said that a truly strong man is not one who can defeat his opponents, but one who has the courage to forgive those who have hurt him." Her words were like a sharp blade that pierced my heart. I suddenly remembered many years ago when my father taught us to care for each other. At that time, we were so innocent and full of visions for the future. I was silent for a long time and finally let out a long sigh. "Lily, you know what? All these years, I've always thought I've become stronger. But I didn't realize until this moment that my heart is still bound by hatred. Maybe it's time to let it go." With that, and with Lily's persuasion, I decided to stop beating up on Oliver's company. I even agreed to inject capital into the company to help it through its difficulties. When the news got out, all of Wall Street was shocked. No one can understand why I would help someone who once betrayed me. The day Oliver and Sophia came to me to apologize, I saw genuine remorse in their eyes. Oliver says he's lived with a tremendous amount of guilt over the years. Sophia, for her part, cried and said that betraying me was the biggest mistake of her life. I didn't choose to forgive them, but I no longer hate them either. I just calmly said, "The past is the past. From now on, we're just regular business competitors, that's all." The moment I walked out of the company building, I felt like a big stone in my heart had finally fallen to the ground. The sun was shining, the breeze was gentle, and I suddenly felt that the whole world had become different. Emma and Olivia are waiting for me downstairs. When they saw the look on my face, they knew what was happening. "You made the right choice, Alexander," Emma said with a smile. Olivia, in turn, gave me a warm hug. "We're so proud of you." Yes, I finally realized that true victory is not about defeating your opponent, but about defeating the demons in your own mind. This is the end of my journey of revenge, but my life, it's just begun. Looking at the bustling streets of New York, I knew that more challenges awaited me in the future. But this time, I'm going in with a whole new attitude, because I finally realized that in this world, love and forgiveness will always be more powerful than hate. Choosing to let go of hatred doesn't mean it's over. Instead, this is just a new beginning. Over the next few days, I began to face the challenges and surprises that come with choosing forgiveness. First up, Oliver and Sophia. Even though I said we were just regular business competitors, it's not that simple. Oliver's company has weathered the storm for the time being, but it is badly damaged and struggling in the marketplace. One day, Oliver came to my office with a thick proposal, asking Phoenix Fund to invest in his company. "Alexander, I know I'm in no position to ask you to help me," Oliver said with unprecedented humility in his voice. "But this isn't just about me personally. There are hundreds of other employees in the company whose livelihoods hang in the balance. I implore you, give us a chance to start over. I stared at Oliver for a long time, thinking back to our years growing up together. There was a time when we were such close brothers, thinking about the future together and working together for the family business. Today, things are different, and there is an unbridgeable gap between us. Oliver, I spoke slowly. I would consider injecting capital into your company on one condition. Oliver nodded eagerly. On any terms, you name it. I want you to leave the company and do something really meaningful. I said, all these years you've been living in your father's shadow, trying to prove yourself. But maybe, by leaving Wall Street, you can find your true self. Oliver froze, obviously not expecting me to make such a request. But in the end, he nodded bitterly. You're right, Alexander. Maybe this is just what I need. With that, Phoenix Fund capitalized Oliver's company, and Oliver chose to leave to engage in philanthropy in Africa. I later learned that he found new value in his life there and helped countless people in need. Sophia's situation is more complicated. The day she came to me, there was an unmistakable look of fear and guilt in her eyes. Alexander, I know I've done wrong, she said shakily, and if you're going to publicize what I've done, I accept it. I'm ready to take all the consequences. Watching the woman I once loved so much in such a sorry state, I have mixed feelings in my heart. I took a deep breath and said, Sophia, I'm not going to report you, but I want you to use your expertise to help people who really need it. I've heard of a nonprofit organization that is providing financial education to underprivileged areas. Maybe you could work there. Sophia looked at me in surprise, a tear of gratitude flashing in her eye. She nodded and said solemnly, I promise, I'll spend the rest of my life making up for my mistakes. And so, one by one, the people who had hurt me left Wall Street. I thought that would be enough to let go of the past for good, but as it turns out, the real test has just begun. As Phoenix Fund continues to grow, we are taking on more and more large-scale projects. In a large-scale merger and acquisition case, I discovered that the target company had serious financial problems. If we reveal the truth, this company will face closure and thousands of people will lose their jobs. But if it is concealed, we will be exposed to huge financial losses and moral hazard. I was in a dilemma, where once I might have chosen to expose the truth without hesitation, now I'm starting to think more. We can't do that, Emma said firmly at the conference. As financial practitioners, we have a responsibility to maintain fair and transparent markets. Olivia takes a different view. But if we do this, what about those innocent employees? What about their families? We can't just think about the rules, we have to think about the consequences. I listened to their argument in silence, my mind at war with the heavens. In the end, I made a tough decision. We'll report the problems with this company truthfully, I said, but in the meantime, we'll work out a detailed reorganization plan and do our best to keep every employee's job. Phoenix Fund is willing to cover some of the losses if necessary. This decision has cost us dearly. Our profits have plummeted and shareholders are questioning my decisions. But when I see the smiles of relief on the faces of employees who might otherwise be out of work, I know it's all worth it. However, the most gratifying thing for me was the reaction of the families. Lily was the first to call after learning of my decision, her voice filled with pride. Alexander, you did the right thing. Dad would be so proud of you if he knew. Even my parents, though at first puzzled by my giving up on revenge, finally understood my choice after hearing about it. The father choked on the phone and said, Son, you are much stronger than we thought. Instead of being blinded by hatred, you have learned to forgive and take responsibility. I am so proud of you. These words were like warm sunshine, dispelling the last trace of gloom in my heart. I finally realized that true success is not achieved by knocking out your opponents, but by influencing others through your actions to make the world a better place. Emma and Olivia were also deeply touched by my decision. One night, the three of us were sitting in our office, looking out the window at the glittering night view of Manhattan, when Emma suddenly said, You know what, Alexander? You've given me a renewed belief that there's still hope for this industry. Olivia nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. Yes, you showed us that justice and goodness can be upheld even in this financial world of deceit. I held their hands, my heart filled with gratitude. I couldn't have gotten this far without you guys. It was your support that gave me the courage to make the right choice." Just then, a wry glint flashed in Emma's eyes. "Speaking of right choices, Alexander, don't you think it's time to make another important decision?" I froze for a moment, then realized what she meant. Yes, after all that I've been through, I've finally come to my senses. So, at the top of the tallest skyscraper in New York, under a star-dotted night sky, I got down on one knee and asked Emma to marry me. The moment she tearfully nodded her head, I knew that my life was finally complete. Olivia, who was there to capture this unforgettable scene for us, happily said, "Finally, I've been waiting for this day for so long." On our wedding day, all of Wall Street celebrated us. Oliver and Sophia also came, bringing with them the results of their work in Africa. Lily took my hand and looked proudly at the radiant bride on stage. Even his father, who was always serious, gave a rare smile of relief. Looking at the bustling guests on stage, I suddenly realized that life is like the financial market, full of ups and downs. But as long as we have goodwill in our hearts and maintain integrity, we are sure to earn true respect and success in this market. Today, I am no longer the young man driven by hate, but a mature man who knows how to forgive and has the courage to take responsibility. Emma and I have worked hand in hand, and Phoenix Fund, under our leadership, has not only generated staggering profits, but has become an ethical benchmark on Wall Street. Every time I stand in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows in my office overlooking the city I once hated and loved, I am reminded of this poignant experience. It taught me to never lose my faith in goodness and justice in this complicated world. For only then can we be true winners in the ups and downs of life. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.